On the production line, Rosie the Riveter steps in when the draftees step out.
When the United States entered the war officially and millions of men went off to fight, there was a need for workers to produce the machines of war, literally. And so the people left behind to do that were women.
To millions of American wives and mothers, the responsibility of manning their home front against emergency is now very real.
Women came into defense plants especially and did the work of building tanks, jeeps, aircraft. This is a great upset in the workforce, and then also a great upset in terms of gender roles.
I'm the girl that makes the thing that holds the oil, that oils the spring, that takes the shank, that moves the crank.
About 6 million women then enter the workforce, and those were primarily white, middle-class, and married women. But many women were already in the workforce. 14 million women were already in the American workforce at that point in time, particularly women of color, single women, and single mothers. Those were three groups that it was a necessity for them to work. So it's incorrect to think that this is a point in time when women became part of the paid workforce.
Since the war began, Southern industries, their production schedules hampered by manpower shortages, have hired many colored men and women as skilled and semi-skilled workers in jobs once reserved for whites alone.
For women of color, black women in particular, the war didn't bring them into the workforce, but it gave them new opportunities in the workforce. Largely the opportunity to get out of domestic service. During World War II, the percentage of black women working in domestic service dropped from 60% to 40%. Besides giving black women different work opportunities, with those work opportunities came greater incomes, and that was hugely important to black families. The war and the position of defense industries led to a lot of black families moving west for the first time, and fully west, not just to the Midwest, to the coastal areas. And there, African Americans, black women included, took up work in defense industries in a more integrated manner than they did in the South and even in some northern cities. Being a woman in the American workforce during the war was not easy. While many women appreciated the opportunity to earn more income, be more autonomous, have their independence, learn new skills, they were not being paid on par with their male counterparts. So there was still inequality and sexual harassment that they dealt with to quite a degree.
It happened that a woman's delicate touch enabled her even to excel men in certain precision operations.
There was still this idea that if women were going to be in the paid workforce, they should be in clerical work or be typists. So to be doing physical labor, be in the defense plants, ran afoul of many ideas of what a woman should be. Many women in various nations took part in civil defense efforts, non-military efforts to prepare for or protect people in the event of a military attack.
Enforcement of the blackout, reporting fallen bombs and fires and the presence of gas, removing injured persons from damaged buildings. All the duties commonplace to Britain's heroic civilian workers are listed on the American Volunteer Air Raid Warden's chart.
In Japan, however, the government prohibited women from being part of civil defense initially because it went against cultural values. And only as the war intensified and casualties increased among men were women then brought into civil defense. At the time, construction materials in Japan consisted largely of wood and bamboo, which made Japanese cities extremely flammable, and therefore bomb strikes were uniquely destructive. There was the expectation that every family would volunteer one member to neighborhood associations called Tanaragumi. These organizations or these associations were responsible for fighting fires and other civil defense acts. And because there were so few men available, women primarily made up the civilian firefighting force. It's interesting to think of this as a non-combat role because the job of these women, the primary job, was to extinguish bombs, which they did by scooping up the bombs, putting them in a bucket and smothering them, either with water or sand. There was definitely the possibility that they would lose their lives. Many of them did, and it was considered quite an honor to die doing that work.
Peace, the hope of mankind, had arrived. In every corner of the battered world, men rejoiced, cheered the end of World War II.
When the war ends in the United States and men return home, there's a push for women who were in the workforce to go back into the home. The majority of employers and the vast majority of the public, almost 2/3, believed that they should be fired to make way for the men coming home. There's a post-war quest for normalcy, and part of that is returning to pre-war gender roles. Women going back to, or at least the women who had been in those roles before, going back to being housewives and mothers was promoted as the ideal.
Tom, what do you want for breakfast?
What'd you say?
What do you want for breakfast?
I don't care.
Many women lost their jobs, or at the very least they were demoted to lesser paying, lesser status jobs at the war's end. Even though there was this resistance after the war, too many had experienced the autonomy, the independence, their own paycheck. Full 75% of those who had entered the workforce during the war desired to stay. World War II shifted ideas about women. Women can be in the workforce and also have families. And you have that, increasingly happen throughout the rest of the 20th century.